Some people do not find the ways of chivalry. This is because their teachers found them. But where there is failure, there is foundation. To start anew, to rise righteously. And so I will teach you, dear viewer. I will teach you what to do, what not to do, what you must do. I will teach you to become not bad. I can't use that, it's copyright. The first piece of knowledge is to just get behind the parry window. Here's a demonstration of the parry window. You will find most players don't really have great movement, which allows you to find openings to punish.
First or third person? Both.
I usually play in third person, but when I do play in first, I'll switch to third to see my environment. Also, to get a more accurate shot for throwables, I'll switch to first if I was in third.
If you're on PC, binding T is a really good key.
It's up to you what you prefer, but for me, I use first person for duels and third person for invasion. If you play first person all the time, change your field of view. I recommend that you use 110 because it's the perfect balance to see more and not look like you're traveling at light speed. Target switch. So this is the same clip, and I just want to show you here what's happening. So you'll notice the person has a sledgehammer and it hasn't got a lot of distance. So right now I'm going to target switch to his friend right here. So now with this opening, get the kill and he cannot reach. You need to target switch because you catch people off guard and you make the previous enemy you were facing chase you. Here's an example of an enemy chasing you that you can exploit. So right now I'm going to focus on this opponent and his teammate comes along. So I'm going to pretend to chase him and then switch back. And you can just create an opening like that. Here's another target switch where I parry and then overhead to his teammate. Right now, this Mason here is actually doing a pretty good job. He's hitting a lot of his parries. So to catch him off guard, I moved closer to strike with acceleration. But I don't chase him immediately. I move on to different targets. You see that chap over there? He wants to take out this archer. Since we know everyone hates archers, we can use this as bait to attack and switch to him. I've made it look like I'm attacking the people in front of me. But really, the plan is to switch to him and make him uninstall out of pure aggression. Here's another example of target switching and tracking. See how I'm not focused on any one target? I'm reacting to the environment. I'm going up and down. I'm seeing what events I can switch to and forget the current target, but then come back to them later on. The point is not to focus on one target all the time. But also, it's not always the most optimal strategy that you can do, because sometimes you'll find laser focusing on one target at a time. It's beneficial to stop them winning an objective. For instance, eliminating barrel carriers is a good one. You have to isolate each target unless you can drag an attack to multiple ones. As a general rule of thumb though, usually it's a good idea to attack multiple opponents if you can, when you can. Here's a challenge to set for yourself. When you're in your next 1vx, 1v2, 1v3, make a rule to change target every 2 seconds. Remember, you want to mix it up and catch them off guard and create openings. And always go for the weakest point that you can exploit, which will create a bigger opening for your team to come and help. Riposte target switching is the most common. A riposte is a counter-attack performed immediately after parrying, which means blocking, an opponent's attack. But instead of focusing on the opponent that hit you, you want to switch your attention to another opponent nearby. Sometimes when you can't parry, you can still avoid a direct hit by, get this, moving away. You don't have to stand still and take the attack. All right. Oh! Oh! Did you see that, by the way? The movement that I had.
You did. You had incredible movement.
I had sensational movement. Here you can see another quick example of what I mean. You can see that I move to the left while I'm attacking. Here's a repeat in real time. This opponent is about to throw a throwing knife at me. As I go to attack him, I move around it. Try to spot the throwing animation and or anticipate when someone might throw their weapon at you. It's actually a really common thing that you can either parry or move away from. Did you see the dodge? Let's take it back a second and see what I did. You'll notice the Mason that was previously fighting me is standing over there. I start to anticipate that he's going to throw his Danax. This is confirmed when I see the throw animation. Try to become familiar with the throw animation, because once you do, you don't have to dodge or duck. You can either parry or move out of the way, anticipating the throw and its trajectory. So this is a quick one on spacing, on how you can sort of bait the distance if someone is constantly attacking you, like this person here. As you can see, I dodge away, and then they go for the attack, and because of one simple dodge, I had the advantage. You can become the master of bait. Here we can see I'm playing the engineer. put down some walls, but also I put down a bear trap for later use. After I've done taking out the opponent with a sledgehammer, I notice I hear steps behind me. So to take advantage of these steps, that are increasingly becoming louder and louder, I introduce them to the bear trap. Now I'm going to teach you the worst thing you can do in Chivalry 2. I think this example is a bit extreme, and you don't have to do this, but let's have a look at it. So, teammate dies. This enemy's looking at me going, are you approaching? We can have the 1v1. No, we're not going to have a 1v1. I'm going for the horse. No, I'm not. Now for the secret source of Chivalry 2. You need to duck. As in, you need to duck a lot. You need to duck all the time. Here's another industry secret. You can just stop and duck as well. Here's a government secret. You can also move back and duck. You can also dodge out the way, which isn't a secret, it's public knowledge. But wait, dear viewer. Here's a few more examples because I have to convince you to duck more, okay? You have to duck more. Seriously, people don't do it. Everyone just parries. You can just duck and avoid so many attacks. I've got to show you. Clip 1072 of ducking and attack.
Oh no! No! Yeah, boy.
You might see a player saying that they're accelerating their attacks, and all it means is shortening the distance to attack your opponent. Here's an example with a fist. Okay, so with the first punch, you know there's a ton of distance, right? But with the second, I'm right next to them, and it doesn't have to travel that far. So instead of moving into the target, now we're going to move away from them. This is called dragging. The purpose of a drag is to extend the time it takes to hit your opponent. This can throw them off with their timing and usually bait an early chamber or riposte. You'll notice on this frame that we're looking at each other, but what you will see is that I'll pull away with the strike and then push back in with it later on. All right, it's kind of convenient he dodged. Hopefully you just see what I mean when you're dragging away. Also conveniently, you'll notice in this clip as well that I can accel my attack because I'm closest to the target. I say, sir, let's review the process. Here's it one more time. Here's the dragon. Here's the accel. Oh! All you have to remember is that acceleration moves into the target and drags move away and then in. To show you just how insane acceleration is, here's one where you can clearly see the distance is so short, the kill is over in a matter of a second almost. It's just silly. But that's why you should move into your targets. It's useful. Here's a fact. The jab is the unsung hero of combat mechanics. It is the underestimated component. You need to start deploying this action because it can disrupt your opponent's attack strategy easily. Like the great Mike Tyson once said,
Everyone's got a plan until they get a gauntlet in the face.
the jab adds that extra time you need in a fight. When you're in a 1v1 that's about to become a 1vx, you might want to use the jab to stun the approaching opponent, because this will give you enough time to continue fighting the first opponent. If you've made it this far into the video, please consider subscribing, because King Argon is taxing the shit out of my family. Let us examine this segment together. Observe how I hear the enemy's footsteps drawing near. I dismount the ballista and prepare a parry. I then leap, anticipating an attack. I accelerate into an assault. Now observe the jab, creating an opportunity to kick. Do you see now, viewer, how one can use effortless methods, such as the kick or jab, to get yourself out of a tough situation now? Never give up, never surrender. Even when you're in a 1vx and the odds are against you, what usually happens is that your opponents will let their guard down because they think they're going to win. However, it only takes one good riposte to get you back into the battle. Get your gear. Replenish, rejuvenate, and re-engage your inventory. It's better for you to take the 5 seconds to heal up and get your equipment than wait 5 hours to respawn. You will see resupply boxes around the map. Just go to one and just get your gear. You can throw anything, even the objective you can throw. Here's the barrel. See?
If one of the masons scum you're fighting decides to go away from you because you're too good, you're such a force on the battlefield, you can throw your weapon! Yes, goodbye, sir.
Whatever class you play, when you pick up enough speed, you can use an ultimate ability. Here's the example with the Highlander. This is simply a recommendation to use fire pots. That is a perfect fire right there. That was perfect.
So moving on to fire pod control. This is one way to position enemies to move them into a certain direction. So as you can see, I'm going to go past all the archers. to Tony Hawk the Ram. So I'm going to get myself up with my legs, and I'm going to throw the fire pot in front of the ram. They can't push it directly in front of it. That forces them to go around the sides, and here they are, here they come! I'm going to pivot between them, so they get attacked behind and in front now. Drag across to his teammate, he's dead. Get rid of these people, create some openings, target switch, get rid of him, and farm you! Goodbye! Let's get these people from behind. There they go, yes, and just as I predicted, then move to the side, all from a single firebot.
If you strike, but there's no enemies in front of you, maybe they just all died, they disappeared. Aside from fainting to cancel the attack, if you're too far into a strike or an overhead or something, just hit the floor or hit a wall or swing above their heads. In conclusion, keep your team alive, yes? In this clip, I actually lift the strike above my teammate so I can get the person behind them. Never, ever leave a man behind. Or woman. One of the things that really annoys me playing Chivalry 2 is when your teammates leave you to die. And for about 15 seconds, you're just hovering on the ground looking for coins. And I know that pain too well, so I'm helping my teammate here. I'm going the extra mile until this guy shows up and bloody kills him after all that effort. Jump, kick over in your... Even if they're the worst player in the game, get them up. More people is better for the objective. You might not be saving the world, but you are saving your teammates from a potential 15-second respawn. So help your team, get them up. And the likelihood you help more of your team, the more your team will help others as well. Don't worry, teammates. I have you. Yes. Get up, soldier. Yes. You ungrateful bastard. Didn't even say thanks. Ever hear of a small group of philosophers in America called the Bee Gees? Well, their teachings were rather useful to our way of life in the modern day. One of the most cited imperatives was to stay alive, and that applies to playing any objective on Chivalry 2. You have to keep on fighting and holding for as long as possible, and don't lose sight of it, because it only takes one sneaky mason to destroy your entire advance. The best technique when fighting an objective is to engage around it and take out as many opponents as possible, and then target the center mass, effectively paving the way for your team to focus on the objective itself. Stay alive on the objective and make the enemy focus on you as much as possible. Here's a tip for Morik. Always go for overheads. They do so much more damage. Bottlenecks and heavy traffic make the medieval commute to your local beheading tiresome. You should make sure to look around you in high traffic situations, because there are multiple hidden alleyways, ladders, doors, and side lanes in every map. On attack, you want to flank around your enemy as much as possible to distract them. Also, this is a quick side note. You can throw items to trigger various traps. On defense, you can use alternative routes to sneak behind your enemy, causing delays in their push. You'll find that you can do this many a time because people get caught up in the main paths. That is why this playstyle of being a spy hybrid assassin is one of the most effective playstyles on defense. To elaborate on alternative routes, here's what I mean. You can use ladders. You can activate ladders behind enemy lines so you can climb the walls. In most cases, you can enable ladders just to help your team push. Okay, if you watch this far into the video, I'm going to give you some secret ladders that you can deploy. You can get both of the ladders to climb the walls that go right to the objective by simply jumping, interacting, and then holding it down, and the ladder will activate. Look at this.
Brother. Little trumpet, mate.
Thank you. Follow me this way. To the left, to the left. This is what I mean by alternative routes. By taking out two doors, we've effectively created a new path to the objective. Wait. Oh,
Hang on, wait.
Wait, let me throw a fire pot. Where'd you go? You see how on this objective, as we're pushing, we're being held up by the Mason defense. I look for an alternative route to flank around and divert attention. And look at that, a hidden resupply box here too. Here you go, another bottleneck that we cannot get past. I throw a fire pot to split the entrance and head back to find an alternative route. The fire pot will give me enough time to keep both parties occupied. So after going around the alternative route, I can get behind them, which will take out their walled defense, and the team can push through. If you have a larger weapon and you're going into a confined space, pull out your secondary. I'm going to wait until he starts healing. Chivalry 2 is a good game, but it does have a few bugs.
Oh, there's a new weapon. Golden dag.
Wait, what? Did he just revive me? He was on the enemy team. What the?
Have you tried out the new weapon?
I want you to see how I load and change targets with a heavy attack at the end of this clip. There has been so many games where no one uses the catapult, and yet they're the most deadly weapon on the battlefield. With the engineer class, you can build defenses for yourself. In this example, none of the archers could attack me. Engineers are really good for controlling the flow of the battle because you can divert traffic away and push them into certain directions.
You want to make sure you're listening for steps.
Okay there, chaps, you want to make sure you're listening for steps. So you can hear the sound of steps, so I check behind briefly. Oh, there's two following me. There's a bloody archer and a knight. Let's isolate the target and force the push from the knight. Let's go to him. Yes. Oh, here steps again. Oh, get him. Target switch. Oh, bloody hell, I'm moving backwards, so they have to come to me if they want to get me. Oh, no, target switch again. Oh, yes, get him. There's an opening there. Oh, dear, I'm going to have to jab and switch to you, and then parry, and then overhead, and block that, and target switch again, and then do this. Now, overhead again. I'm going to drain all your stamina. Drain all the bloody stamina you've got left. Goodbye. Out you go, and back to the objective.
When in doubt, try to attack. Because if you hold your parry down forever, you lose all your stamina, and then you'll lose your weapon. So try to attack more.
Ah, Shadowfax.
Pressing R on the horse does a forward kick.
I mean, just look at this archer. Here's the archer. Goodbye, archer. No more archer.
I wanted to highlight this clip. I found it really funny. I keep forward kicking, and he keeps backing up, and then he quits. As well as kicking your opponents on the ground, you can actually just kick the horse. You just get rid of the horse, just kick it. Where are they going?
Oh, that looks so funny. It's like chaos, they're all flying everywhere.
You just see from my perspective, there's one frame they're there, one frame they're not. Here's a recent game where you see I'm currently on a 45 kill streak. You might start to see some of the things you've seen previously, like the dodges, movement, spacing, jabs and kicks and so on. But one crucial attack is the feint switch. Let's review this kill together. You see how the opponent sees a strike coming in and they're holding their parry. I start off with a regular strike, but I feint into an overhead attack. This does two major things. It adds a longer time of attack and can make them blunder into an early attack for you to take advantage of. Do you remember the riposte target switch? Well, here it is again. This is really common in 1vx. Just like that, from 1 to 2. Watch how I accel the follow-up attack. And now pay attention to what I do. I target switch right after. I don't waste any time, I just want to target the next opponent. Now this is a trivial thing, but I think it's one of the most important things. Use the environment. See how I'm using the pillar here to go around these targets and split them up. And now, knights and knightettes, peasants and peasets, watch this. Here comes the jab. There it is. Become one with the jab. I recommend it. Now I want you to focus. Pay attention to this attack roaming round. I need a dodge. There's a dodge. So I want to go around this pillar and I'm going to attack him, but the backhand might get me, so I duck. And these things, as simple as they are, keep you alive in the game. The policy, dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge. Here's another one. I dodge back, and I have the advantage to reach. So I hope you can understand how these simple things allow you to become not bad at the game. Because I have seen some players who are new, and they stand there stationary. Just they move. Now we cometh the endeth, brothers and sisters, peasants and lords, ducks and dodges. Take this knowledge I've taught you and become not bad. Go on the journey and adventure of destroying your enemies. I've played and enjoyed Chivalry for a long time. I've had plenty of bad games and good and great games. But the one thing I've never forgot is to have fun. Because if you're not having fun, what's the bloody point?
After the